Gordon Soley with Championship Wrestling from Florida, and let me welcome you to another hour of some very, very exciting matches.
Mike Cruz hits the rope. Keep your eyes on Mike Cruz. Don't pay code Hilo. He takes out both men. Wait a minute, Milo with the rolling elbow. We got a new champion. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3. Vintage Nation, welcome to this week's edition of Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State. I'm Blake Chadwick, and this is a very exciting time to be a part of the Vintage Nation. Coming up in January, the biggest event of the year, Wrestle Brawl 6. We are officially on the road to Wrestle Brawl, and that road ran right through the Florida Rumble. And we are going to take you here over the next couple of weeks on Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State and show you various happenings from that event that will lead right into Wrestle Brawl.
September the 13th, Florida Rumble. It's not 30 men, one opportunity. It's one killer, 29 victims. Your next vintage heavyweight champion.
Damn you, Mike Cruz. I had the vintage heavyweight title around my waist for months. I had a roof over my head, I had food on my plate, and I had clothing for Bearsley, but not anymore, thanks to you.
The Florida Rumble, 30 All-Stars, one opportunity. 30 All-Stars, my opportunity. Because you see, far too long, I've been chasing the Mayweather known as the Vintage Heavyweight Championship. And now, it's within my grasp.
The Florida Rumble is one of the most intriguing matches when it comes to vintage wrestling. 30 men enter, one man leaves the winner after eliminating the other 29 men over the top rope where both feet must hit the arena floor. And the winner of the Florida Rumble receives an exclusive Vintage Heavyweight Championship shot at Wrestle Brawl 6 in January. The current reigning and defending Vintage Champion is the King of Florida, Francisco Chiazzo. Now, Vintage Nation, let's go to ringside from a taping from Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, where the number 1 spot and the number 30 spots were at stake as the real deal Mike Cruz went one-on-one with the Dog of War, Jesse Neal. The real deal Mike Cruz enters the ring, and Timothy, if you noticed, the crowd not cheering Mike Cruz as much as they once did.
No, it's definitely a mixed reaction as we've seen a major turn in personality and a wrong turn in those great traits that Mike Cruz used to carry. The real deal Mike Cruz really looking to make his way to the top of the vintage roster here. I got a feeling whether he enters in at number 1 or not tonight, Mike Cruz is one of the favorites to possibly win this 30-man Florida Rumble.
And you gotta think with him being a top contender for the Vintage All-Star Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, and for that matter, even the Internet Television Championship, he's certainly gonna be a force to be reckoned with. But Timothy, one thing we're certainly gonna have to take a look at here, what type of disadvantage will the loser of this match have, having to enter at number 1 and have now last 29 other men and go through almost the entire vintage roster for that shot at the heavyweight title?
Well, I think you just explained the disadvantage right there, but more importantly, let's talk about the advantage. Entering number 30, winning this one-on-one contest right here. The bell is underway, and Mike Cruz already on the attack, looking to enter number 30.
And you see that newfound attitude in Mike Cruz, that mean streak, if you will. Bell sounds, this one's underway. Vintage All-Star Wrestling 2014 Florida Rumble kicking off with the real deal Mike Cruz and the Dog of War, Jesse Neal. As Sean LaFlash pointed out once again, the winner of this match will enter number 30 coming up in the Florida Rumble just a little bit later on tonight, while the loser will be forced to enter number 1. And Neal goes for the big hip toss. Cruz lands on his feet, hits the ropes, and Jesse Neal using that power to just shove Cruz right to the mat.
Well, I've seen Jesse Neal in action before. We've seen him here in Vintage Wrestling. We've seen him be a member of TNA, and Cruz way up high. He had to be a good 12 to 15 feet in the air.
And the big back body drop, and the Dog of War grounds him. And our near capacity crowd here in Orlando getting behind Jesse Neal in the first couple of minutes. But Mike Cruz is going to kick him right in the teeth. Cruz charges in. Neal's going to send him to the outside. Cruz uses an athleticism to hang on to the apron. And now Neil tries to bring him back in. Cruz once again lands on his feet, and a drop kick right to the kisser sends the Dog Award to the floor.
Absolutely, and the Dog Award doesn't want to be outside there as Cruz has a very unique way of making his way outside, but it looks like Jesse Neal can return the favor.
And he takes him out with that slingshot plancha, whipping this crowd in Orlando into a frenzy. Of course, Jesse Neal, having competed in this Central Florida region for many years, a staple when it comes to professional wrestling here in Orlando is Jesse Neal. And the Irish whip on the outside, and Cruz sends him head first right into that steel post. Timothy, no padding there. The Dog of War's forehead meets the steel.
And here's that new attitude carried by the real deal Mike Cruz. Never before would you see him pick up a steel chair, and Jesse Neal getting out of the way just in the nick of time.
And it's probably to Mike Cruz's advantage that Jesse Neal moved there, Timothy, because if he connects with that steel chair, Cruz could easily get disqualified and very well be forced to enter the Rumble at number 1.
And Blake, you mentioned that Rumble, and that's what we've been talking about from the get-go here. But also, let's not forget we got 2 titles on the line here tonight as well. The Vintage Internet TV title on the line as the new champion Afro Boy defends against Mr. Opportunity, Jason Falcone.
And we know those two have heated it up here over the last couple of months in Vintage All-Star Wrestling, competing in matches for that Internet Television Championship. Press 1-2. And a near fall right there by Mike Cruz, but Afro Boy winning that championship in the Fatal 4-Way. All-Pro Leo Gold and Corey Chavis also involved in that contest. But Jason Falcone may be joining Mike Cruz with a newfound attitude after that matchup. That remains to be seen. Let's see if maybe Falcone shows a little bit of remorse after that kick to the nether regions to Afro Boy at Hurricane Hat.
Definitely a change in attitude by Mr. Opportunity. But the Vintage Internet TV title, not the only championship on the line here tonight, Blake, as the Vintage Heavyweight title will be decided as the reigning champ, the King of Florida, Francisco Chiazzo, defends against the future John Davis.
And the winner there will most likely be heading into Wrestle Brawl 6 unless some things get interrupted in the next couple of months, facing the heavyweight champion. And right now, one of these two trying to gain the advantage and enter number 1. And a big back suplex right there by Mike Cruz into the kick-up.
An arrogant kick-up.
It certainly was. Once again, showing off that athleticism. But instead of doing it just to help him in the match, utilizing it to be even cockier. And now Cruz there with consecutive knee drops. And now he's going to take it to a whole nother level. And he's going to drop it down with a 3rd one. And now to add insult to injury, hooks that leg. 1, 2. And Jesse Neal kicks out of the nick of time.
One of these guys going to be entering at number 30. Really put you on the path to headline Wrestle Brawl 6. The loser entering at number 1. Who is that going to be?
Cruz trying to wear down Neal here in the capacity crowd in the downtown rec center in Orlando, Florida, trying to get behind the Dog of War. Jesse Neal utilizing a 60-pound weight advantage and about a 5-inch height advantage in this contest. Let's see if that can come into fruition here.
Well, you know, the weight advantage, height advantage, never really been a disadvantage for Mike Cruz before, as he has taken on some of the biggest and best that vintage wrestling has put in front of his way. Let's think back, like it wasn't too long ago that he found himself one-on-one in the ring against the marquee Bruce Santee.
And that was certainly a stiff test for Mike Cruz, showing more will than we maybe ever seen any competitor in a Vintage All-Star Wrestling show before. Neal grounds him with a flapjack, grabs him here, belly to belly, overhead release suplex, beautifully done by Neal. He's going to capitalize on that outside leg. And the near fall right there by the Dog of War.
Near fall. Jesse Neal, the veteran, so to speak, in the ring. He's been to the big time. He's been under the bright lights before. Mike Cruz still trying to get his way up there. So you got to think, if there is any advantage inside this squared circle here tonight, it's probably that veteran advantage that Jesse Neal brings to the table.
Indeed it does. Cruz now hooks both legs very tight. And a 2 7/8 kicks out just at the nick of time. I thought the real deal was about to steal it right here, Timothy.
Neither of these guys are going to go down easy, Blake. I mean, the biggest opportunity in independent professional wrestling happens tonight. The biggest opportunity there is to main event Wrestle Brawl 6. It's what establishes yourself in the Florida scene.
And Mike Cruz there tries to roll through, and Jesse Neal utilizing that weight advantage right here. He's going to put on the brakes. He grabs Cruz, puts him in position, and a modified German suplex out of the wheelbarrow position.
I got the crowd excited, Blake.
It certainly did. And Neal's going to want to capitalize here. But once again, Timothy, the winner of the Florida Rumble will head into 2015 with that title shot. What a way to kick off the new year. Jesse Neal looks like he's getting in position. Could it be for the spear?
Oh!
And he walks right into the super kick.
That's got to do it, Blake.
I think a few of his teeth flew into the front row. And a kick out by Jesse Neal. And Mike Cruz has to wonder, Timothy, what else can he throw at the Dog of War to take him out in this contest?
Not only does Mike Cruz have to wonder it, I'm wondering it myself. That super kick was unbelievable, but now look, Blake, here's that new attitude we spoke about before. Mike Cruz has something in his hands, and the referee's now noticed it.
I do believe that was the gas mask of Jesse Neal, paying homage, of course, to his time in the United States Navy on the USS Cole. But Cruz gets back in the ring. We saw that steel chair before.
Wait a minute, Milo Beasley! Milo Beasley!
And Beasley's out here. These two have been at odds over the last couple of months, but keep your eyes on Jesse Neal. He's in position, Timothy. Spear, spear, spear. He's got him. 1, 2, 3, and the Dog of War is going to enter number 1.
Milo Beasley has just cost Mike Cruz his opportunity to enter at number 30. Remember, Blake, it was Mike Cruz who cost Milo Beasley his heavyweight championship. Bad blood brewing between these two all-stars.
Looks like karma's coming to rear its ugly head here tonight at Vintage Wrestling at Florida Rumble. As you just pointed out, Timothy, back at Summer Bash in that six-pack challenge, Milo Beasley lost that heavyweight championship due to Mike Cruz. They've been at odds ever since. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you saw right there former Vintage Heavyweight Champion Milo Beasley exacting a little bit of revenge on the real deal Mike Cruz. But I have to imagine this is not the last we've seen between these two all-stars. As a result of that match, Mike Cruz now has to enter the Florida Rumble at number 1, while the Dog of War, Jesse Neal, gets the privilege of entering at number 30. Coming up next week on Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, we will show you the conclusion of the Florida Rumble. Now, let me throw it to my broadcast colleague, Timothy Barr, as he gives you a full report on our next live Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State taping, Survival Games, coming up November 15th.
Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night, November 15th, history will be made in Orlando, Florida. It is the Survival Games. 2 rings, 1 giant cage. Battle lines are drawn, blood will be shed. It is Survival Games, downtown Orlando, the Orlando Recreation Center. More about the main event in just a moment, but first, let's run through this amazing card. The number 1 contender for the Vintage Internet TV Championship will be decided in the Opportunity Knocks 6-Pack Challenge. You have Mikey, the Perfect 10 Lindsay Dorado, Wayne Van Dyke, Dagan Briggs, the Cokie Kid, and Mr. Opportunity himself, Jason Falcone, all vying for that opportunity to face Afro Boy for the Vintage Internet TV Championship. Earlier on, my partner, Blake Chadwick, spoke to Mr. Opportunity himself.
Vintage Nation, coming up November 15th at Survival Games is a special Opportunity Knocks 6-Pack Challenge where the winner of that match will go on to Wrestle Brawl 6 in January for the right to take on the Internet Television Champion. In that match, we will see Mikey, the Perfect 10 Lindsay Dorado, Dagan Briggs, Wayne Van Dyke, and the Cokie Kid, in addition to my guest at this time, Mr. Opportunity himself, the former Internet Television Champion, Jason Falcone.
Opportunity Knocks. That match has my name written all over it. Afro Boy, you stole that title away from me, and now is my opportunity to get it back. At Wrestle Brawl 6, I'm coming for one thing and one thing only, and that's to get back my title. I don't care if I have to go through 1 or 5 guys. I'm heading straight to Wrestle Brawl 6, and I'm getting back my Internet Television title.
Well, you heard it right there. Jason Falcone has his sights set on Afro Boy and that Internet Television Championship, but first, he must get by 5 other men on November 15th at Survival Games. Vintage Nation, one of the biggest events in independent professional wrestling, November 15th, live in Orlando, Florida, at the Downtown Recreation Center, as Vintage Wrestling presents Survival Games.
Wait! Oh
The Vintage Internet Television Championship will be on the line as the reigning defending champion Afro Boy will put his title up against the great Kennedy Kendrick. 6 All-Stars will be looking for the opportunity to compete for the Internet Television Championship coming up at Wrestle Brawl 6 as the Opportunity Knox 6-Pack Challenge will lay the groundwork for the brand new #1 contender.
This match has my name written all over it.
And the main event will pit 10 All-Stars, 5 on each side, 2 rings, and 1 giant cage. On one side, you will see the current reigning defending Vintage Tag Team Champions, Don Maximo and Biff Slater. They are known as Beast Mode. The All-Pro Leo Gold, the Real Deal Mike Cruz, Death Row Jethro. And in their corner will be Billy Wood. And on the other side, the 2014 Florida Rumble winner, the Emerald Emperor, Simon Says, Milo Beasley, the King of Florida, Francisco Chiazzo. The Dark City Fight Club is reuniting in Vintage Wrestling as Corey Chavis and John Davis come together again, accompanied by Shane Doe. All this plus J.J. Dillon will be ringside for this epic event Saturday night, November 15th. Vintage Wrestling presents Survival Games. Get your tickets now at VintageWrestlingFL.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time we saw Afro Boy and Jason Falcone engaged in battle, it was a part of a fatal 4-way match here on Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State, where Afro Boy was able to capture his first ever championship in Vintage Wrestling. That did not sit too well with Mr. Opportunity, as Jason Falcone kicked Afro Boy right between the legs, showing a little bit different attitude than we're used to from Falcone. Folks, let's head to ringside right now as Jason Falcone enacts that rematch clause as he goes one-on-one with Afro Boy for the Internet Television Championship.
New Internet Television champion Afro Boy in his first defense will make it against the former champion, this man right here, Jason Falcone. The former champion with a new attitude adjustment. I guess, would leave a bad taste in my mouth if I lost my championship as well. Falcone looking to make the most of this opportunity. And Timothy, the one thing that's been on my mind is the one thing that's been on many fans, the all-stars of Vintage Wrestling's mind over the last few months. Does Jason Falcone have a change of heart? Is that a one-time thing? Does he come to his senses? Or is this a brand new Jason Falcone looking to make the most of this opportunity? Well, let me tell you, inside that ring, Blake, there are no friends. Just like there are no friends in the Florida Rumble later on tonight. I don't care if Biff Slater and Don Maximo end up facing one another. They're going to put friendship aside, and they are going to fight. And just like when a title is on the line, friendships get put aside. And that will probably happen multiple times here tonight in the Florida Rumble. But if you have your eyes right now fixated on Jason Falcone, he has not stopped staring, and not only Afro Boy, but that Internet Television Championship, of course, he won that back at Gold Rush in the spring of 2014. And Timothy, he's got an opportunity now to become a 2-time Internet Television Champion right here tonight at the Florida Rumble. Absolutely, opportunities abound. He calls himself Mr. Opportunity. We'll see if he can take advantage of this one here tonight. Jason Falcone does call himself the working man's champion. He wants that belt around his waist once again. Referee Dan Freebama assigned to this contest. Afro Boy has him backed in the corner. And Afro Boy will give Jason Falcone a clean break. Probably something we won't see Falcone do if that comes into fruition here tonight. And into the corner once again. And another clean break by the man from Motown, USA. Falcone already looking a little bit agitated, making his way back into the ring. Afro Boy on the chase. And Falcone misses that elbow as he tries to catch Afro Boy. And look at those stinging rights here by Afro Boy. Certainly not of the garden variety. He's taking it to him. And a big right hand's going to ground Mr. Opportunity right there. Afro Boy, the fans here in Orlando, Florida, definitely behind the jiving and juking Afro Boy with a big splash in the corner.
And he's got him in position. And Timothy, it's been a long time, but there's the return of the Frupedo. And you want to talk about a little receipt for last month. Jason Falcone loses that Internet Television Championship. He goes low. And Afro Boy returns the favor here tonight at the Florida Rumble.
Yeah, it's all Afro Boy right now here in the beginning as he's looking to retain the title. And I spoke too soon.
Was going for the monkey flip, and Falcone drops him with the flapjack. And Mr. Opportunity regains control in this matchup.
The challenger looking to get his title back here tonight at the Florida Rumble. The road to Wrestle Brawl underway here tonight in Orlando, Florida. Working on Afro Boy in the corner.
This Falcone looking a little more methodical than he has been in the past, trying to pick apart the Internet Television Champion there, dumps him on the back of his head with a big back suplex. Covers him one. And if you notice right there, Timothy doesn't hook the leg, doesn't even drape his entire body across Afro Boy. About as cocky as you can get from Falcone.
Definitely a little bit of arrogance on display. And now I understand him being upset about losing the title. I don't understand the cockiness and the arrogance that he wants to bring to the ring tonight.
And now he's rolling with him once, twice, and he's going, looks like possibly for 3 suplexes. Afro Boy's gonna put on the brakes. Here goes Falcone, tries it one more time. And he's got him in position, he's got him elevated. Delayed suplex, and all 5'8", 181 of Jason Falcone. Utilizing some power right there to get Afro Boy up and over, hooks it outside leg 1-2.
It gets extremely uncomfortable when you hold your opponent up high like that. All the blood starts rushing to the head. You lose your sense of awareness, your sense of balance, and you come down so damn hard.
As Falcone once again with that scoop slam. And Timothy, I don't remember seeing Jason Falcone move this methodically in his entire career. There is a slingshot elbow. 1, 2, and a near fall once again.
Jason Falcone, he's got to drop the arrogant attitude, okay? Now, there's a difference between being angry and being fierce, but arrogance is not going to get him this title back here tonight.
Afro Boy's got him, and a Samoan drop out of nowhere as Falcone charges off the ropes. Afro Boy trying to get all fired up here, getting the crowd in downtown Orlando behind him. But Falcone's going to cut him right off there with a big knee to the midsection. Runs him up, this is his finish. Going for that tornado DDT.
And the roll-up, quick pin.
And a modified Mahi Straw Cradle right there by Afro Boy. Only going to get a 2 count right there. As Falcone firing back.
Now remember, Blake, later on tonight as well, not only do we have the vintage heavyweight title still to come. Wait a minute.
1, 2. Oh, and Falcone reversed it. 2. And I thought that might do it right there off the ropes. Into the small package. 1, 2, 3.
Wait a minute, that's it, it's over.
He retains the Internet Television Championship.
Arrogance cost Falcone inside the ring tonight. The multiple pin attempts without hooking the leg. You know, it's a different type of attitude, but he has to drop the arrogance.
So 1 month after winning the championship at Hurricane Havoc, outlasting All-Pro Leo Gold, the Soul Assassin Corey James, and the former champion, Mr. Opportunity Jason Falcone, in his first defense, the man from Motown, USA, is successful defending that championship against Jason Falcone. And now Falcone doing the referee Dan Greenbaum. It looks like Falcone does not agree with the decision that his shoulders were counted to the match.
Well, I don't understand why Falcone's so disappointed. He really has nobody here to blame tonight but himself. Oh, wait a minute. Another altercation here. Remember what happened last month.
And Falcone here looks like he's trying to show some mutual respect. And again, Timothy, we had to wonder, was this a Jason Falcone Afro Boy thing? Was this the fact that he lost the Internet Television Championship? Or was this a wholesale change of attitude for Falcone? And now he's asking for the microphone from Sean the Flash.
Come on. You know, Afro Boy, the man that you saw last month, it wasn't me. I'm not that type of a person, okay? Shake my hand. Just do it.
So Falcone asking him to shake his hand. It looks like he is showing some remorse here, Timothy.
Absolutely. Jason Falcone, a good guy. One of the good guys here in the vintage locker room.
I've always thought very highly of Jason Falcone. Last month seemed out of character in Hurricane Havoc.
Is in the crowd, my daughter is watching me here tonight.
Talking about his wife Molly and his 7-year-old daughter Julia, who he brings with him to every show. Huge inspiration for Falcone.
If I'm Falcone, I'm going to stop inviting my wife and daughter because it's embarrassing that I keep
I'm trying to apologize to you, and these people
a little bit of a losing
obviously
streak
are not
here.
listening to me. But what you need to do,
I'm only inviting my wife if I win.
shake my hand.
And now once again asking him to shake his hand. And the crowd here at the Florida Rumble seems somewhat reluctant. Afroboy is going to shake his hand, showing what a good guy he is. And Falcone is going to raise Afroboy's hand. So possibly showing some remorse and not a wholesale change of attitude by Jason Falcone. Yeah, go! Come on now! What the hell is that?
I'm at a loss for words here, Blake. I mean, he just spoke about how his wife and daughter was in the audience. He already lost in front of his kid. Now what kind of example is he showing here?
As Jason Falcone lays out Afroboy with that microphone and then drapes the TV title in front of him like that's the line he's going to have to cross. So right as Jason Falcone looked like he was showing some remorse, apologizing to Afroboy, he takes him out. And Jason Falcone, Timothy, is leaving the Florida Rumble without that Internet Television Championship, but I have to believe everything between him and Afroboy, it's now moving away from the Internet Television title.
November 15th, Survival Games, downtown Orlando, the Orlando Recreation Center. The Vintage Internet TV Championship will be on the line as Afroboy, you look to retain against your challenger, Kennedy Kendrick.
That's right, baby. That's right. Mr. Kendrick, new to vintage wrestling, but he's not new to wrestling. He's been around the block a few times. I've seen his name pop up here and there, but he's coming against one brother that got a little too much soul for him, if you know what I'm saying. Mr. Kendrick, you will know for sure why you should fear the fro. Dig that?
I dig it. Kennedy Kendrick, Survival Games, fear the fro.
Well, folks, you heard it right there from my broadcast colleague, Timothy Barr. Coming up November 15th, Saturday night, downtown Rec Center in Orlando, Florida, Vintage Wrestling presents Survival Games. 10 men, 2 rings, 1 giant cage with the Hall of Famer J.J. Dillon on the outside managing one of the teams. It's going to be all-out warfare. And if you want to be a part of this great event, be sure to check out VintageWrestlingFL.com and also check out Vintage Wrestling on Facebook for all the latest information regarding Survival Games. On behalf of the entire Vintage Nation, I am Blake Chadwick, and thank you for joining us on this week's edition of Championship Wrestling from the Sunshine State.